I come in here and Izzy and Jeremy and Mike are just yelling at each other about Kevin Durant. They're just yelling about the idea that Simmons says a deal to San Antonio is already done. Zaslow's saying the fact that the Miami Heat are even in this discussion suggests that it's where Durant most wants to go. And I remember quaintly a time in sports when the player wanting to go somewhere made a difference. But Minnesota is now in play. Somehow, even though Minnesota's pretty close without Durant, probably doesn't want to break up its core for Durant in any meaningful way. And also, Durant has no interest in living in Minnesota.
The larger problem with the NBA is the NBA Finals are going on, and no one seems to care, even the people who are covering the NBA
That's
Finals.
not true.
And we're
That's
talking about a 37-year-old who's not going to make a difference in terms of a team winning a championship. I'm sorry.
I think you're just individualizing your experience and projecting it out. I think people that like basketball are into this NBA Finals.
Although less so with Halliburton hurt, just because that's a crusher of an injury. I wanted to ask you guys, I want to get into this. Do you know a coach who has the strength to go with McConnell the rest of the way in that spot? Do you know a coach who would sit his star player who's clearly hurt and cannot drive and just say, Halliburton, you're not playing anymore in the most important game of our season?
Any coach after 2019 with a calf injury.
Yeah.
Because that's what it was. It's a calf injury, and he's trying not to ruin him for next year, so you got to be very, very delicate with him.
Also, I'm going to lob a complaint. We were not yelling. We were not fighting. I could not have been calmer when I asked Jeremy Taché, does a Khalil Ware grow on trees? And the answer may surprise you.
The answer is yes.
A 7-footer with the mobility to guard a lot of people, but not everybody.
They're entering the league at an astonishing pace. Honestly, it's made Bam even less valuable because he created a template that a lot of people are following. So if you want these big, really tall guys that are rangy defenders, that are smart with the ball in their hands, that can set other people up, but maybe not be a total star, certainly not an alpha, they're entering the league more. People see Bam and they're thinking differently. It's like how Europeans said, I don't care if you're 7 foot. We're going to shoot. You're going to shoot outside. The game has changed a little bit, and to potentially, even though I don't necessarily think it comes to this, because I think when you look at the other teams, the Rockets and the Spurs, they have more to offer. If they wanted Durant and the Heat want Durant, they could put a better package together.
Well, there's also this part about Houston, though. It's the idea of how badly do they want to break up not just the core, but how they operate, right? Like, yes, they need a closer. Durant's your closer. Yes, if that's how you're thinking of it, cool, bring him in there.
They need a veteran, too.
They do need a veteran, yeah. But, they're running everything around Şengün. They think Amen Thompson is a corner piece of that franchise. And so I don't know how much they really want, hey, let's get Kevin Durant here. Let's try to win a championship within 2 years and stunt the growth of everybody else.
Let's get back to Stugotz's original point, because I don't agree with him that nobody likes this series. But even Adam Silver is saying, when horrified by the ratings, hey, we're selling a lot of stuff locally in the cities that are in the finals, which doesn't sound great. What are you laughing about, Mike?
Did Stugotz write on that whiteboard?
Yeah. I didn't write it. Whoever wrote it's in trouble.
If you don't subscribe to God Bless Football,
you get it.
The word bribe had to find its way in there somewhere.
So God Bless Football is an emerging titan here that is expanding in a lot of ways for Stugotz and Billy. And we suggest, where can we find on StuTube, where can we find all things both God Bless Football and Stugotz as you continue to build out your empire?
On StuTube and wherever you get your podcasts. That's where you can.
It's youtube.com/@Stugotz790.
It's wrong.
Thank you, Mike.
It's wrong to ask Stugotz this question, because when he says on StuTube,
I'm just churning out content, baby.
But when you say on StuTube, it helps no one find it.
youtube.com/@Stugotz790.
Please subscribe.
There.
How do you not know this?
It's not my job to know.
Yeah, it kind of is. It's your job to promote it.
It is, yeah. We're doing fine. Thank you to everyone who's supporting us.
I mean, imagine how much better you'd do if you knew the handle.
How do you spell subscribe?
The Kevin Durant thing that I want to talk about with Stugotz, because I began to have sort of this discussion yesterday when I was just talking about acquisitions, trades, and how obsessed we are with them, so that on a day that Desmond Bane, or a weekend that Devers and Desmond Bane get traded, the trade is less interesting to us than where's Giannis going? Where's Kevin Durant going? And when you talk, I want to give the stat again that I gave yesterday, because it's not a small thing. I understand, Izzy, the way that people are saying the last year of Kevin Durant, that's what it's going to be for Kevin Durant wherever he ends up because he's old. But it simply ignores that when he's scoring 25 points on 50%, he shot 53% from the field last year, more than 40% from three, that him and Jokic are the only offensive players who can do that. You, Mike, underestimate Bam when you say there are a lot of them. There are not a lot of Bams who can guard all five of your guys.
Right.
Ware can't do it, and he's not going to grow into being someone who can do it.
How many elite players in this league or in the prime of their careers get paired with a young all-star wing and finish 10th in the East? How many? You know what he is. You know what he is.
Okay, you can say all this. He was also the second best player on a team that got very close to the Eastern.
And he's allergic to actually making the playoffs as a standard seed. He always has to go through the play-in. That is not a sustainable business model for the Miami Heat.
He doesn't always have to go through the play-in. The last few years of Butler's aging, he had to go through it. I'm not alleging that Bam's a number one. I'm also not alleging he's a star. What I'm saying is he doesn't grow on trees. The ability to guard five guys is still not something that exists in this league. Draymond can do it, and Bam can do it, and not a lot of other people can do it.
We're seeing, though, in the league, more and more people are entering the league that can do this. And what I'm saying is, fine, he's not a superstar. Is he a really good number two? If he can't be paired with a young all-star wing and do better than 10th in the East, that is a legitimate question. Now, here's some pro-Heat propaganda for you because this is an interesting thought exercise.
Wait a minute. I don't think that you can do this, though, to Bam and not do it to Kevin Durant. If you're going to do it just team play, it can't be Bam's a 10 seed and Durant's out of the playoffs. I want Durant, but not Bam.
Plus, Bam was a 1 seed with an all-star guard next to him.
Understood. With one time with Jimmy Butler. But we've seen when you strip Jimmy Butler away what the ceiling is for this team potentially, and it ain't great.
But it's also the style of player. Jimmy Butler and Kevin Durant are two wildly different players who probably Kevin Durant fits better alongside Bam. And I thought we were talking Khalil Ware's growing on trees.
I understand.
Not
Bam. I want to keep my eye on the ball here. Here's the pro-Heat propaganda. If you want to do this thought exercise is you could make the argument, well, who's better in the East with their top three? KD, Bam, Tyler Hero. Get me a better three. Now, it's a cheap trick that I'm playing because I take New York's. The gulf between the third player is probably wider. But if you look at Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, you'd say I'd certainly take their two. You look at Siakam and Halliburton, you'd say I'd take their two. But you can't necessarily figure out who the third is. So if you look at the top three, you're like, yeah, I like my chances in this Eastern Conference. And I've heard that from a lot of Heat fans.
Obi Toppin was the third last night.